Hey, this is Mark with another Indigo Vision Control Center tutorial for you. And this one's going to be a little lengthy one. And the reason for that is because this topic is regarding exporting video. And there's just so many facets of the on exporting video. There's a lot of detailed steps that I just want to make sure you're aware of and what each function does. Once I pull up the screens, you'll see what I'm referring to. But other than that, it is fairly simple, really easy to export video. Excuse me. So to get started, first thing we need to do, again, like I've always said, you need to be logged into Indigo Vision Control Center, and in this instance, you do not need to be an administrator or have administrative privileges to export video, but you will need your administrator would have given you would still need permission as a user to export video. So if that's not one of the permissions granted to you under the the user groups and management, then most likely you will have your recorded video button here grayed out. But if you log into your system and you see that your button is active like mine is, then you're good to go. You can export video. So let's get into it, because we got a lot to talk about when it comes to exporting video. So the first thing is, when you logged in, you most likely will come into your live screen as you see here. What I like to do once I'm here is to get to exported video. To get to export video, you need to get to the recorded video area. So in order to do that, just go ahead and click that. So once you're there, you'll notice that not much has changed on the screen. On the left side, what's been added was this calendar right here with this text box at the bottom. Then you have your NVR, VCR type function buttons over here, and your timer, like a VHS type timer. Then you have your timeline, plus and minus, and these are your alert buttons. When there's an alert, usually there's a red button bookmarks, and you could skip ahead or skip back, depending on where you are in the timeline. And let's see what else. Up here, you have your general buttons that you would usually find on your live view. What's been added, or what's different in recorded view, is that you have this button right here. It says export and protect. You also have a protect only button and a snapshot button. You'll probably use this and this the most. And then you have your types of view that you can use. Timeline view, back to the single view like this. Alerts view, so it'll only show you where the alerts are on the camera. And I'll show you what these, not what everyone, not each individually, but the ones that I use the most is probably this one here, time-based thumbnail. So I'll show you how that works. And then this is your audio. If you have an audio enabled system, you can export just the audio only. And this is just a pop-up window. Looks just like that. That gives you the status of your exported videos, either successful or if you had any issues, it'll show up there. Down here you have your motion search, and I'm gonna see if time permits if we could do that. This is pretty interesting. Probably want to show you that too, how to search. So just to set up how we're gonna do this, what I'm gonna show you is how to bring how to bring the camera in, so you could do a search. Once we do the search, then I'll show you how to do the export. And once we do the export, then I'll explain to you what are the three files from the export you're going to need in order to create the DVD or CD. So that way it could be handed over as a evidence or whatever it is that you want to do with it. It's up to you. So let's see. Okay, so let's start here. Let's grab the camera, bring it into view. And the first thing I want to highlight to you is right here on your the bottom left hand side. In order to see what days were recorded, or what recordings are available, you have to look at the calendar. The calendar, when it's bolded out just like this, where 18, 19, and 20 are bolded out, that's indicating that those days have actual recording on it. Anything beyond anything before the 18th, there's no recordings on the 18th. So I'm saying before that. So if you're looking for a case that happened 5 days ago and you go back and you go, oh, well, it's not grayed out, it's not bolded out on the calendar, then there's no recordings for those days. That means it's already had either recorded over it or the system just never recorded that day. Now, the way the recording works here, it is a FIFO system, first in, first out. So if, say, for example, in my previous note said I mentioned 5 days of recording. Well, when you come to the sixth day will start recording over the first day. That's what FIFO means. So make sure you understand how much recording days you have, and everybody knows that. So then that way, if they're looking for anything, they understand that they have to get there before either the 5 days, 7 days, or 14 days, or whatever it is you have specified on there. So first thing I need to show you is how to perform a search. There's different ways of doing it. The most logical, well, the first way, I'm not going to say logical because there's a lot of logical ways. Let me take that back. The first way to do it, or first way you can do a video search, is by entering the time. You already have the date, so you select the date. Like, for example, if I'm going to 19th, select the 19th, and then I will enter a time down here and hit go. Now, let me explain to you what we see here. The blue line that goes across here, this blue bar, indicates that there's actually recording for that day. So as I click the 18th, indicates that, see, there's no recording from 1500 and previous, but there is recording from 1520 all the way up to maybe the 24 hours, right? And then on the 19th, the same thing. There's recording there, and then on the 20th, there's also recording there. So that the blue bar indicates there's recording. If you have audio, you'll get a blue and a green bar for audio. So with that said, I think we're good there. Other little key features here. This right here is probably one of the things you would use the most, is synchronized playback. The way you would use the synchronized playback is, say you have 5 cameras and you bring all 5 cameras into view and you've set up your time down here. Well, if only one camera is highlighted like this is right now in yellow, the time is only going to be affecting this camera. So this camera will jump to whatever time you specify. So let me see, I'm going to spend 2034 sounds pretty good. Let me take it to 2034. There's the timeline shows here, 2034, 2034 up there, 2034. So we move to 2034. Perfect. If you had 4 cameras with the same, and you wanted to see what 2034, which is the time I just specified, I just pulled it out of the air. No, there's no relevance to it. If I wanted to see what that is on the other cameras, I would just select this button right here, synchronize playback. It will turn every frame orange. So as I drop cameras in, they would automatically synchronize with the time that I have specified, 2034, and start playing from that point on and match whatever the first camera is. So then that way, you could see the sequence of events. Like, say, if you have a store camera and you wanted to see it from 2034 because that's when somebody walked in, you can kind of see where they traveled from 2034 on to the time of the incident as how they roamed around your store. And that's how you use that. So you'll probably use this a lot. The other feature is your bookmarks. Now the bookmarks, the way, there's several usage for the bookmarks. So what bookmarks are is that you put a digital print in that time space. So say if I paused it right there at 20, oops, not played it. Let me pause it. Say I paused it at 20:35:07:05. I place a bookmark there. When I go back, these alerts, previous incidents, would also hit every bookmark that's here. So that way I could easily go to a bookmark if I'm searching. So say I find something here, and then I go into another timeline, 24:34, for example, and I want to go back to 20:34. I would just click my previous alert button here like this because I've put some bookmarks there. and I would jump right to it just as you see what you're seeing there. And that's how you would use bookmarks. So like say for example, if you have an interview room and someone is watching your interview, you probably want to bookmark it, boom, the start of the interview. And then as you're listening to the interview and the suspect says something of interest, you might want to bookmark it right there. Because what happens is when you take this evidence into court, the bookmark follows it as well. So when you're in court or wherever you take this, you can skip right to the juicy part of your interview and get right to it without wasting any time. So you could kind of like, so that's how you would use bookmarks. So let's get into how to do a search here. So I started off by first entering the time and the date. That's the basic, right? Because we have a time and a date. But if somebody comes in and tells you, it was between this and this time on this date, well, that kind of leaves it really open. So we need to find a way to minimize how much video we're going to sit there and watch. There's one way of doing it. If you have to sit there and watch it, well, you could speed through it just like how you would in the VCR. Let me show you how you do that. So you hit play. It's playing right now. See this 1x right here? This 1x correlate to this speed bar right down here. It's saying that it's only going at 1x speed, which is normal speed. If you need to fast forward a little bit, take it up a notch to 2x. If you need to move a little faster, take it up a notch to 8x. See how the time starts to fly? And if you need to go faster, take it up to 16x. And it's really going to start flying. That's how you can speed through it. And if you need to go back, you go the opposite way, and it will start playing it back for you. Let's see there. Yeah, see now it's going backwards. So that's how you would do that. Now let me stop it. Oops, stop. Pause. There you go. All right. Let's go back to 1. So that's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is, say if you had a region of interest, like this is a fixed camera, and I know that I have traffic coming across this right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a motion search that tells me only point out when there's motion in this area right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and click right here first, motion search. Now this only works for fixed cameras, or if you have your camera in a fixed position. If you have a PTZ, you could probably try this because it will save you some time. So it never hurts to give it a shot. So this is the screen that we get popped up after I hit motion search, and you kind of want to leave it normal right here. Or if you know the way the traffic flows direction, you could tell it that it's going to be a direction, and you use the arrows to point out which direction you want to specify. Or museum mode if you point out sensitivity or when something was left in a particular area that you're going to detect motion here or ignore motion. So let's leave it as normal for right now. And what I'm looking for is motion right around here. So watch how I do this. I'm going to highlight this area. And, oops, actually let me ignore all first. And then go in here and highlight this area. So this area right here is my area of interest. I want to see motion occurring right around here. And object size 2 cells. I have 3 cells here, so that's fine. As long as they cover 2 cells, I'm going to pick up motion. So that's 2 cells there. Maximum cells 330, which I don't have that many cells available. And I want it to have the highest accuracy. So it's going to search it pretty slow. And I'm going to click OK. Yes. So you got a lot of pop-up messages that says all motion data will be cleared. Are you sure? And I go, yep, I'm sure. So now I want to click. So here's the important thing. Depending on your timeline, say if I did 2034, I'm going to go back to 2034 by doing that, and I'm going to ask it to start searching from that point on, 2034. So because I know that the incident happened about 2034, I'm going to start my motion search at 2034. Now this may take a while, so we're going to just let it run for a little bit here. So as you can see, by doing that, now we have these little bars that are below us here. The yellow line, the little yellow spikes, the yellow spikes indicate there's motion. And in order to capture the video, so that way you're not catching this insignificant motion here, what you want is these large spikes right here. You probably want to, this little bar with arrows on the side are your threshold. And what that's going to help you do is you set the threshold. So say, like, for example, if you want that to be your highest bar right there. I mean, if you want if you only want to be able to get to those high peaks, just like that, where we're seeing motion of this car coming in, you would set your threshold to meet that peak. So say, for example, if I'm start the video down back here, and I wanted to get to that point because that's where the peak is, not to this point, because my threshold, that does not meet my threshold, doesn't even reach the bar. I'm going to just click here, and it'll take me right to that point. And that's what you want to do as far as searching, because I'm doing a motion search. So I've just saved myself a lot of time going through the whole video looking for motion. So now, wherever the next threshold peak is, and still searching. And depending on your system, if you have a fast network connection to your NVR, and if your processor on your computer can handle it, this could go fairly quickly. If not, you're gonna spend some time here running through this, and you probably want to close out every application that's running on the background, so that way the computer, then Indigo Vision, the control center, takes full control of your CPU process and is able to do this search while you're looking at video. So you definitely want to make sure that you buy a computer that's going to be able to handle what you need, not just for video purposes or watching video, but also for doing video searching, because that's where the hang-up may be. So I'm going to stop this because I'm going to use this large peak right here as my endpoint, and the way you stop it is you just click this button right here, and that stops the motion search. Doesn't stop the video, just the motion search. So I'm going to stop the video now. So what I want to do is I want to say, in this example, at this point, 2044 is where the incident happened. So I'm going to drop my threshold just a little lower, right about there. And now I have another point right there. 2018 is where it actually started. And let's see if I have something else here. Nope, that's good right there. Yeah, oh look, there's another incident way up here too. That's one right there. All right, so we'll use that right there. 2059-25. So this is when the incident happened. So that's where I'm going to start my exporting from this point on. Actually, my searching. I want to see what happens here. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go up here, click on thumbnails, and click on time-based thumbnails, because it's going to start from 2059. Click on that. And as you can see, it's going to show me everything that happened on that timeline from starting from here. 2008, no it didn't. Oh, there it is, 2059. So that's what the thumbnail search looks like, and you kind of see how it goes play by play. Let's start the action from there. Kind of see how that works out. So even on a thumbnail, you can kind of start the action right from whatever location you pick. So I can say I want to start it from here, a couple of seconds before, or 2056 right here. I'll see the car that caused the motion to come in about, so it's 2056. So it happened at 2059. So we'll see it come in that way. Go back here. 2057, and we're going to speed it up 8 times, and it should be coming in any second now. You'll see it fly through, and it's pretty fast. It makes your searching go a lot smoother and a lot faster, and you can see the car is already pulled up, the gate's opening, and there it is, passing by. So I mean, that's that's what that does for you as far as motion, doing a motion search and then taking it into the thumbnail view. It kind of cuts your search time to a, instead of doing an hour worth of searching, you're cut your search down to 6, 7, 10 minutes of searching. So you get to an incident right away and get it to court right away. So let me take this back to my incident, which is right there. And I'm going to take that back to the single screen mode. And I'm going to go here to where it says export and protect. And if I had more cameras, they would show up here. And if I had if I had 4 cameras on the screen, all 4 cameras will have a green checkbox next to it. Otherwise, it's just this one camera. Now, what I want to show you here, time period. It already takes you to the date because you've selected it here, and the time because we said the incident happened at 20:59. It already took me at 20:59:44, and duration. Now, the incident that I saw lasted maybe about 2 minutes or less. So I'm not going to take up a lot of space. I'm going to just do maybe 10 seconds of it. But for example, if you're looking for something that's an hour long, or you want to take an hour long of video. Pardon me. You can do it by minutes, hours, or days. Just word of caution: if you're doing hours and days, get ready to be there for a long time. And also, if you're doing it for days, make sure you have enough storage on whatever media you're recording it to. And I'll get to that in just a minute. So I'm going to do seconds. 10 seconds will be fine just for me. This right here, protect recording. Make sure this box is unchecked unless you want that recording protected. But since you are burning this recording to a off-site SAN storage server or some kind of DVD, you don't necessarily need to protect it. The reason why you don't want to protect it is because, say you've set up your NVR to do 14 days of recording. Well, if you have 5 incidents that you're protecting, you've just reduced your amount of storage available to the NVR because it's protecting it on the NVR, so it's not going to write over it. So you want to make sure that this box is unchecked, so that way you're not restricting your NVR. Let's see what else. Incident. That's where you would name it. Give it a name. That's where you name your file. Oops, I said give it a name. Give it a name. And location. Location. Well, it depends. So if you have a storage server mapped, you would most likely have it in my computer, like I have it here. And I have these storage servers here. They're mapped drives that I could just send it to, or I could send it directly to my DVD. I would not recommend you to send it directly to your DVD. First thing I would always do is send it to a folder of some sort. So I'm going to make a folder on my desktop, and not sure where it's going to put it. It's going to put it on my desktop somewhere. And I have a lot of things on my desktop. It's going to put it in a folder called video. And you can tell it you can put it wherever you want to, but make sure you have some kind of policy or some kind of central location where you could put these files in. And regarding the incident name, I've seen many type in what the incident is. Like, say, for example, if it's a robbery, 211, they would put in what the incident, the name of the place, and then 211 incident and the date. So that way they could go back and reference that if somebody's looking for it. That's the way I would name the incident name. Include bookmarks. If you like, say, if you did an interview room if you did an interview room interview, and you did have bookmarks, you want to make sure you check that box to include bookmarks for your audio or for your video, either one. Allow incident reviewer to reveal hidden zone. Now, I haven't talked about hidden zones yet. What hidden zones are, they're masked, they're digitally masked zone. You could actually mask the zones digitally. And what this allows is that, like, say if you have to take that incident to court and that mask needs to be removed, well, you would have to do it here. Otherwise, the recorded video would include the masking. So you want to make sure if you have a mask and you need to remove it because something happened behind the mask, you make sure you check that box to allow it to be removed. copy the incident player. Very important, and by default is selected. So make sure that's always selected, and by default it is. So make sure you leave it just the way it is. This is new. Write date and time. Make sure you check that box. That is not automatically selected. I would encourage you to select that, so that way the time stamp and time date matches, because you're going to need to show that in court. And this right here says existing recorders within Exodus. So if there's a folder and you already named it something else, saved it the same thing, it will rename it to whatever it is to this .1, .2, or .3. They'll do that for you. So once we do that, once we have these little settings set up, all we got to do is press OK. And it's recorded, exported. Check the box. That's good to go. And we're good. So we have the incident recorded. We close that. And, Jesus, I just want to warn you right now. When I minimize the screen, you're going to see a lot of crap on my desktop. I just use this computer very heavily, so I apologize for the clutter on my desktop, but I need to show you where this file, where this incident went and what it looks like. So I'm going to minimize Control Center, and I'm going to look for my video folder. Oh, here it is. Look at that. So here's the video folder. And I named it. So here are the 3 files that you get within the video folder. You got the incident name. I called it Give It a Name. The incident player, and the auto run. You just have to copy these 3 into your DVD drive and burn it. And it will burn these 3 files on the DVD, and when you give it to the judge or the attorney or whoever is getting the copy of this, they don't have to load any software on their computer in order to play it back. They could this right here, incident player, plays it for them. This is the player itself, okay? And this right here is the actual incident database and the footage itself. Here's the footage right there. It's MPEG-4 format, so it's open standard, and you could play it on QuickTime, or I like to use VLC player. And it also plays on Windows Media. There it is right there. See, there's the timestamp, the time, 8:59 p.m., Pacific Standard Time, date, and that's the way it plays it back. Let me click that again and play it back for you. So that's what it looks like on, but on your player itself, it will look, it actually has the watermarking built into it. So the player will determine, there's a section on it where it would pick up the watermarking, so that way you can authenticate that the picture or the video has not been tampered with. So let's get back here to the NVR, and we're almost done here with this. Actually, that was pretty fast. So let's see, we're done with the motion search. We've talked about the syncing. Actually, I think we're done. So once you've done that, you have your DVD, you have your video here. You could either leave that in that folder, or you can burn it to a DVD. You do, like I mentioned before, all you have to do is drag these 3 files into your DVD, and you're good to go. So with that, I think we're done. Thanks for listening.